Welcome to Bite Size PL, professional learning you can consume during lunch or on a dog walk or while you plant a tree. Our goal is to provide meaningful, engaging, and brief conversations for educators. I'm Jared, and my co-host today is Jenette.
Hi, Jared.
Hi, and today we are at Lakeside Elementary with Hollie Fisher, a fourth grade teacher.
Hello.
We're going to try to set the stage here. Last year, I was there for the final commencement speech for the Junior Microsoft Expert Program. And there we are in we'll call it an auditorium, with all the parents and proud families that were there. And then there was a ton of students. It was how many grades were there?
There was just one grade, but there were 83 students.
So there's 83 students, and they were all dressed like it was a graduation.
It was a big deal.
And then at some point, there was this video that was played from Microsoft where they congratulated all the students and, added some thoughts there. But it was just such a powerful piece. And I was just so impressed and thought, man, this is just such a great program that's going on here at Lakeside. And so what we wanted to do to begin with is just have you kind of tell us what the goals of the Junior Microsoft Expert Program are and what skills you're hoping to develop in students.
Perfect. Well, the Junior Microsoft Expert Program is just a student expert program, and they spend some time being experts on the different Microsoft apps. The main goal is just to empower students to be experts in these 21st century skills that they'll use throughout their whole life. And so that's the main goal.
What were the kinds of projects that the students completed?
Anything that we do in class, we always try to extend their learning using these Microsoft apps. So we don't just say, hey, we're studying PowerPoint today, everybody open up their computer. It's more like we're going to read this story, and as we read, we're going to use PowerPoint to synthesize the information. So maybe they will create a PowerPoint or a sway based on the main ideas that they found from the story. Or maybe we will make read an informational text, and then they'll spend some time making a forms quiz with questions from the major points or some misconceptions that people might have on the topic. So really, it's just used to enhance all things that we do in class.
Could you share any examples, some of your favorite things that you saw come out of this the last couple of years?
My students, sometimes, especially at the beginning of the year, you have students just ask questions and more questions and more questions, and you reach your quota by 11 o'clock, okay? But once students become experts, then there are so many people in the classroom that they can ask. And so they ask me a question about something, and I say, I bet an expert can answer that, and they'll go to one of their peers. And they just get in the habit of doing that. So it isn't Mrs. Fisher's the only one that can answer my questions, but pretty soon they realize, hey, I can answer my question. I have some troubleshooting tools. That's the number one thing I teach my students coming in is, hey, it's not working. Okay, these are the things that we do. We're going to refresh. We're going to shut it down. We're going to close the program. We're going to open it in a different web browser. So those are some things that I teach them and ways that it empowers them in the classroom.
I love that they troubleshoot and they learn to see themselves as experts who can figure out and solve any problems that come up or turn to their peers. I wonder, do you have any students who are resistant to the technology? We always assume this generation is 100% in, but I bet there are some students who are a little reluctant or maybe not as natural at it as other students. So have you been able to support them?
One of our student experts that we'll talk with today, she'll tell you her story. She was really reluctant in doing the JME program because she's not very good at technology, is what she says. But in the end, she was one of our top experts and one of the very first to be able to help peers and the go-to person for certain apps that we were learning. So she learned really quick and she was just really proud of herself after doing that really hard thing.
Well, one thing that I really like that you said is I think in education, we use the term empower a lot. I think it can be a little bit of an empty phrase, just kind of a fun catchphrase. We talk about empowering, but what does it really look like? And I love that you have these students that are able to figure things out on their own, because that's what I think empower means is we give strategies to students so that when they are stuck, that then they can get themselves unstuck. And whether that's talking to a peer or maybe it's just working through things a little bit. So I really like that was your definition of empower.
Exactly.
We have teachers for K through 12 that listen to our podcast, any thoughts or ideas for teachers at other levels, maybe secondary level, and how they could lean into the Microsoft tools specifically, but in generally to technology in order to support their students' learning?
Yeah, sure. The Junior Microsoft Expert Program started at Lakeside in 2018, but it's actually being used in lots of elementary schools around the nation and even junior highs. So there are some junior highs that use it. The great thing is there's a K6 adaptation, which means that you can do what it looks like for second graders or third graders, or in our upper L, it looks different. And in the junior high, you can pick and choose from what parts of it are most important for your students and lean that way. Also, Microsoft does have a student expert program for those secondary students that's different than the Junior Microsoft Expert Program. This program was inspired for those lower grades so that they could experience the same thing.
What other schools do we have?
So Delia Banya, she is here in the Davis School District, and she is a junior high teacher. I don't know what school she's at. My good friend Ashton Johnson, she's at Case Creek Elementary, and she has created a Canvas course that goes through the Junior Microsoft Expert Program. It's the greatest thing because it also has all of the badges that self-award when students complete all of the components to earn a badge. So it just makes it super simple for teachers to assign the course, and students can work at their own pace. But she's done a lot on that, and she shared all those resources on the Commons area in Canvas.
This is not a program that you adopted from Microsoft, but this is something that you created. You are the creator of the Junior Microsoft Expert Program.
Yes, I am.
So tell us how that started.
Well, it started when I first went to Microsoft headquarters. So I traveled to Washington and went to a Hacking STEM conference at Microsoft, and I got to interact with a lot of Microsoft experts. So they'd call them Microsoft Innovative Educator Experts. And from doing that, I decided I really wanted to be an expert too. And so I just used all of these apps to just enhance learning in my classroom, and my students loved it. They loved it so much that I realized my students were becoming experts when I was becoming an expert. So I decided to create a student expert program so they could be an expert too. And they just ate it up. They loved it so much, and they wanted it. I wanted it to be an enrichment program. I thought maybe 5 or 6 students would do it. And the first year that I did it, every single one of them did it and became a junior Microsoft expert. And they were just giddy. They were just so excited about it. And so that's where it first came from, is me wanting to be an expert and then them wanting to come on the journey with me.
That's amazing.
So now you have like all the 4th grade doing it, right?
Yep, we have almost our whole 4th grade doing it. We also have our 5th and 6th grade upper L students that have done it as a pathway. And so we've had hundreds of experts in a year. Just depends on the year.
And the support from Microsoft is overwhelming. You say sending little videos congratulating the junior experts.
I have a lot of connections with being a Microsoft Innovative Educator expert. And so I just kind of reached out to some of the experts and said, hey, we have these student experts. You should send them a congratulations video. And we actually used Microsoft Flip, which was Flipgrid. And they just sent a bunch of videos. And I put them in this big video montage for my students. And they just feel so important seeing those congratulations.
You know, I love technology. I should sing the song from Napoleon Dynamite, but that would be kind of fun for what we're doing. But I also can see that, like, you know, sometimes it feels like there's a bit much, and maybe our students are on screens too often. So how are you able to balance that so that students don't have an overabundance of screens?
Well, the program is meant to be an enrichment program. So it's not we're on the computers all the time. And everything that we do on the apps are to extend our learning. So all of our lessons, like good instructional teaching, then we start with an intended learning outcome. We think about the strategies, the highly effective strategies we're going to use. And then we say, hey, is there one of these tools that we can use to enhance our learning? And a lot of times there is a tech tool and we'll use that. And sometimes it's a non-technology tool, and that's just fine. But that's how we do it, is we teach just good teaching.
Well, and I think that's really the key there. And I like what you said, where you're not trying to fit the tool into what you're doing. You're doing it the other way. Like,
Exactly.
Here's what I'm trying to get out of this. Which tool is going to fit best for what we're doing?
Yeah. Can I give you a couple of examples?
Absolutely.
So there are 3 tools that are just golden. They are ones that we use all the time in our classroom. The first one is email. And guess what? That tool doesn't expire, because after you're done with 4th grade, then you move on and you'll use it your whole life. And so I teach my students, that's one of the first things I teach them. They email their parents all their digital projects when they complete them. They also are taught how to send a proper email, sending, a greeting and putting all the information and telling them what they need from that person. But these are skills that are important. So we use that email all the time. We also use OneNote. That's our digital classroom. And inside there, students are tracking their goals and their reading and math growth throughout the year. And so they are accountable for all of those scores. And throughout the year, they fill in more data and try to track where they're going and keep setting goals along the way and reflecting on their goals to see if they're getting there. So they're put in charge of their education. And then finally, Teams is another way. It's just a perfect way for us to communicate. So constantly I'm posting things for students like resources or announcements, and they always know that everything is inside our team, so they can go there and see files or resources that I've shared, and all the information is there. So all 3 of those tools are ones that aren't just 4th grade tools, but whether it's a Microsoft apps that they're using those for, or it's a different Google or anything else, then they're very similar. So they can adapt and be used to using those tools to organize their learning.
I love that relevance, those tools that you use, they can take with them on into their life as they move along. Is this an expensive program? Is there a cost for teachers who want to be part of it?
The Junior Microsoft Expert Program is not. It's free. And that's my gift to you, actually. My gift is, so I created the program with my friend Ashton Johnson, who created the Canvas course. And we have housed it inside the Commons so that anyone can use it. And the great thing is you can use it and make it your own. So I would love if you took it and just chose the apps that were important to you. Each one of the classes has a video that explains the app. It has a quiz to check for understanding. And then finally, it has a place for students to submit projects. So you can see it can be used for any grade, because a 4th grade project would look very different than an 8th grader's project. So they use what they know to submit the projects and earn the badges.
Wonderful.
So if somebody was going to look for this on Commons, like, how would they find out?
They would look for the Junior Microsoft Expert Program, and for short, it's JME.
Okay, and then it would have your name and Ashton's name on there.
Yep. And we're so happy to help you if you haven't set up digital badges before, where I can meet with you and set up those badges and help you get started. Also, I have a sway that I can share that includes that it has all of the lanyards. My students wear these fancy little lanyards that they wore proudly every single day that said Junior Microsoft Expert. So I have a template for that. And I have certificates. So like you said, we did this great celebration. Microsoft is very involved. We send them an email just a few weeks before we're doing our celebration. They sent all of our students, every single one of our experts in the entire district. They sent them a Microsoft lanyard, and we had districts from around the United States send videos, or we had experts, Microsoft experts from around the whole entire nation send these congratulations videos to students, and they were super excited about that.
That's amazing. Well, I can tell that your enthusiasm for it is probably what makes the sell for your students. That's amazing.
For sure.
So what advice and tips do you have for someone who'd like to get started?
My advice is to check out that sway, because the sway has all of the information, and I can share that as a QR code or a link, but it has all of the information to get started. It has all of the resources. It has a link to the Canvas course, so you just have to add it to your Canvas courses. Everything is all there. And so just open it, kind of peruse through the materials, see what kinds of things in there can be the best for your class, and then reach out for help. So we have lots of experts or other teachers around the district that are doing this program. So if you want to find out more, then you can ask one of them. But I'd love you to contact me and say, hey, help me get started, because I'd love to help you.
Well, fantastic. I'm so glad that your gift is actually the program itself that you have in Canvas Commons, so that anybody can add that. And one thing that I would add there is, when you import the class, like, you kind of have some license to personalize it and fit it to what you want. Like, as you mentioned, that's where a teacher could customize it and pull out the things that they want to use.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we'd like to talk to a few experts now.
Awesome.
And so we're going to get to hear from some of the students that have gone through the program.
Yep.
Our first student guest today is Logan. Logan is a 5th grader at Lakeside Elementary School. Logan, I would like you to tell us how it felt last spring when you received your Junior Microsoft Expert Award in the big ceremony that we heard about.
It felt awesome because, I knew I've been working on that for, like half the year, and it feels great.
And can you remember any particular project or Microsoft product that you especially loved working with?
I loved working on my Neil Armstrong Sway and Word document. They were both really easy and fun to do. I got to add pictures in the Sway, and when I finished it, I was like, it looks great.
And have you continued growing in your Microsoft skills this year as well?
Yeah, in my Spanish class, we were working on a presentation about, I got assigned a country, a Spanish country, and they told us to do research about it. And I'm finished with part 1 of it, so.
Terrific.
Okay, we're here with Scarlett, who is another 5th grade expert here at Lakeside Elementary. And Scarlett, why don't you tell us what your favorite thing about being part of the JME program was?
I liked it because I got to work with my friends and I got to help others so they could complete their badges.
What are some skills that you feel like you gained and benefited?
Like PowerPoint, I think I worked a lot on PowerPoint and got a lot better with that.
Do you think that your work in the Junior Microsoft Expert Program has helped you be a better student, even beyond just the Microsoft products?
Yeah.
Can you think of how it's helped you as a learner?
Maybe just so I can do work better and make it more efficient and stuff.
All right, we want to welcome our 3rd student guest, Chloe. Thanks for joining us. How have you grown as a Microsoft expert this year in 5th grade already?
Now we do a lot of PowerPoints and Word documents, so now I know how to use it really well, so it looks like professional did it, not like a 3rd grader did it.
It looks like an expert did it, and you did.
So what would you say makes it look professional? What are your skills now?
Now there's periods in the correct places, and I have words like and but if I need to extend the sentence so it doesn't look like there's just commas everywhere.
And do you feel comfortable that you've learned some design things as well? You make good design choices with your PowerPoint?
Maybe you can talk about transitions or
those
kind of things.
Yeah, what's the word? What makes for good transitions?
Well, I don't know what makes a good transition, but there's lots of fun ones that you can add. So when you're sharing your PowerPoint, it doesn't look like you just click to the next slide. It looks like you kind of can break, so it's more entertaining.
Yes, absolutely.
So, Chloe, what would your advice be to a student that's just starting this?
Just try your best, and if you need help, don't be afraid to ask for some help, because there's people around that probably have helped other people, so they know how to do it.
Great advice. Well, we want to thank you for sharing with us, and especially this is an actual gift. A lot of times with our gifts, somebody's just sharing a TV show that they like, but you actually have a
Which
gift.
is a gift, but this is a better gift.
So any teacher can just go to Commons and do the search for the Junior Microsoft Expert Program.
Yes, for sure.
And then they'll be able to import that course. So,
yes, and Ashton Johnson is the one that made that beautiful Canvas course. Just took everything from the program and put it all there. So it's easy for teachers to maintain it and track the badges and help students become experts.
Well, thanks so much for being here with us, Hollie. And as always, we'd like to thank our producer, Tom, for making us sound so good. This season, we are also putting video of the podcast on YouTube, so you can continue listening on your favorite podcast app and also check out the video on the YouTube channel. Check the show notes for that link, as well as the link to the Sway that Hollie was talking about. And thanks for joining us. Please like and subscribe and share the podcast with others. See you at school.